It's Christopher Watkin here with David Westgate, who is the CEO of Andrews. You've got a 50-branch network, 527 mouths to feed, yet your staff turnover is only 30%, whilst the industry average is 50%. Why is that? Talk to me.
Well, Andrews, Chris, I think, as you know, is a unique business. We have a lot of people that want to work for Andrews because of our charitable ownership, and people that passionately believe in social purpose. On the other side of things, we have people that want to work for Andrews because of our setting, where our branches are located. We operate in some fantastic rural and city environments. And fundamentally, we drive the business based on coaching and developing and supporting our staff. We're not a soft employer in that sense. You know, we do work our staff very, very hard. People want to work for Andrews. And through the stats, what you'll see is a lot of people have actually worked for Andrews for a long, long time. So we do pretty well on retention. Some of our stress points will be in the first 18 months of service at Andrews, where we recognise we do have staff turnover. And that's sometimes because people either don't fit or feel that actually they haven't got opportunities available to them.
How would you say, over the last 20 years, the quality of frontline, let's be honest, the frontline job is a neg. We both started there. How do you think that's changed over the last 20 years, good and bad?
Gosh, that's a big topic for discussion. I think the world of, let's call it sales, has changed. I think if you go back 20 years ago, estate agency in particular was very, very focused on front-end sales without really much recognition as to what the customer's needs and wants are. I think lettings as an industry wasn't really around 20 years ago. Has only really emerged over the last 15 years. So the type of person, the quality of the person has fundamentally changed over that period of time, depending on the customer's needs and wants. So the stage that we find ourselves in now as a business, which is fascinating, really, really interesting, is really trying to select people that actually are not out-and-out salespeople, but people that are very, very, very focused on what the customer's needs and wants are. Our coaching programs in the business at the moment are probably more focused on people that have been in the business for a longer period of time that have had some difficulty in transitioning from old world sales to new world looking after customers' needs. But we're getting there, and that's great. So that's an exciting thing that we're running through.
But coming back to the original question, is the calibre of millennials coming into a state agency now different, in a good and bad way, to the people that were being attracted to agency? I mean, there's actually a school of thought that says no one actually wants to be an estate agent. We always fall into it, and then we never leave.
I think it's a really good question, because I think there's different facets of that. I think the first and foremost is that a lot of young people that are coming through now, frankly, have very little opportunity to either buy a property because they can't afford it, and therefore have very little experience of the house buying and selling process. So one of our challenges behind that is if we've got particularly a younger person that's never experienced buying and selling, that presents a little bit of an issue for us when they're talking to customers that are in that process. So that's a key area. I think a lot of younger people that are coming through, again, be reasonably careful with how I describe this, lack the spirit, or lack the accountability, or lack the excitement that perhaps we had when we first started in the industry.
Do you think that's down to the fact is that when we started in the 80s, well, myself 80s, probably yourself as well 80s, it was very transactional, and it was very, you got your car, you got your bonus, and you got your salary. Talking to many people in positions like yours, a lot of it now, you almost have to, it isn't just about the money, it's the experiences. You've almost got to hold something back. So we're not talking about avocado on toast and beanbags and free food here, but it's the experience and 3 days off and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a more holistic part of what we do now. So I, one of the things I changed when I first started 3 years ago. We used to operate in distinct silos in Andrews. So someone would pick up the phone and say, Andrews Estate Agents here, how may I help you? Got rid of all of that, and actually it's now a property group.
Yes.
So young people that are coming in are not automatically siloed into being an estate agent or a letting agent. We're actually bringing people in to be more holistic in their approach, which really means being customer-centric. So our offer, our service is all about a property offer, not a specific offer.
But coming back to the staff, have you had to, I don't want you to mention numbers here,
No.
but have you had to, the way you remunerate your staff in terms of pure salary, car and bonus, have you had to change it slightly to fit in with the new millennial way of thinking?
Yes. So in the old days, I think it's fair to say actually there was a fairly low retainer for staff and a high commission. But that was really based on transactional numbers without much thought to what the customer's needs and wants are. So yes, we've shifted, we've moved to generally higher basic retainers and generally a greater focus on if you will, a pool of benefit that a branch might offer to the customer. And at slightly higher levels in the organisation, we're now focusing people more on what we call KPIs on a quarterly basis, the focus on outputs that are desired.
Do you think the other part is the management of the teams? I mean, the branch manager is the vital link between what a success or not. Do you think the branch manager themselves has had to change in the last 20 years to accommodate the new world and the way people think, especially millennials?
Yes, well, this is a much bigger question, of course, because I think that one of our strategic objectives here is effectively to remove silos in the business. And we did operate at one point in the journey where we had a branch manager of lettings, branch manager of sales. Customer walks through the door, sales or lettings conversation. Our objective is to remove that in the medium to long term to actually focus again on what the customer's needs and wants are. So getting rid of the notion internally, that actually you're an estate agent or a letting agent has moved on.
But then let's be honest, you certainly don't want an estate agent in charge of a lettings department because it'll go haywire. How are you going to ensure that the regulatory side stays okay?
Yeah, 100% agree, Chris. So to explain that a little bit more detail, we see each of our branches as a business unit. So there has to be someone responsible for that business unit, delivering on KPIs, delivering on the profit and loss, and that business manager has a more holistic operational role. So that person will manage the team. Now, absolutely, having done this for a few years, as you have, 100% agree with it. You have to have specialists in the business. So without a shadow of a doubt, it's rare that you'll find someone doing all sides of letting, sales, financial services. So we absolutely will have specialists continuing in the business.
And finally, on this video, where do you see the remuneration and motivation packages for estate agency staff and letting staff in the future?
It's a great question. I'm not entirely sure I know the answer, but it has to be based on the outputs, the outcomes from a customer point of view. Fundamentally, if we're not delivering the service that a customer's paying for, why should we be paying for that?
Thank you for your time.